What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MagnaMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. It's a little bit chilly, but I'm here to review Blitz, blind film critic. This movie does have audio description on Apple Plus, and it's not having a great run right now in terms of its awards consideration. I didn't even really prioritize it right away because it didn't really seem like it was going anywhere. I do think that it's going to end up getting like a BAFTA nomination and it'll do okay at BAFTAs. It's not going to sweep BAFTAs, but it'll pick up some steam at BAFTA. I would be shocked if BAFTAs absolutely ignored this movie. I think it's going to pick up at least some recognition. And it could still, I think it could still get into the Oscars. I think its sound design is really strong. That's my biggest. I actually like the score, but it's not my favorite score of the year. So if it didn't get nominated, I wouldn't be surprised. I think its biggest chance is sound design. So this movie is, stars Saoirse Ronan, Harris Dickinson, Stephen Graham, and a little boy whose name I've forgotten, but I don't think this movie is going to jumpstart his career just because of sort of the very mixed reception to this, which kind of sucks because, this is a solid director behind the camera. This is, 12 Years a Slave. I really loved Widows, actually, a lot more than I think other people did. I would have loved to see that get more awards attention. And then of the Small Axe series, I really loved Mangrove. I thought was really sort of worked on its own, as a film. So, but Blitz is just okay. There's nothing terribly wrong with it. It's not a bad film. It just, what happens at this time of year is when you get Oscar bait movies that just don't land, it seems like they're worse than they are, but they just end up being okay. Blitz isn't bad. It's just, I think people have really high expectations for it, especially considering people were talking about it last year, about maybe its potential last year. It felt like Apple sort of pushed it to this year for it to be able to have a chance at getting, Oscar buzz, so they had a serious contender this year, and this ended up not really being a serious contender. I've heard people talk about Saoirse Ronan. She has a nice voice. She doesn't do much here. She's the mother of the child who is actually the lead of the film. You're really just following this kid throughout the whole film. And I don't think many people realize that, but he is the lead of the film. And he goes on an adventure, sort of. Takes place during World War II with, the bombing raids that are happening, in England. And she goes to work in a munitions factory, and obviously he needs somebody to take care of him, so he gets sort of shipped off to where it's supposed to be safer. And things go wrong, and he ends up sort of on his own adventure, and then ends up being homeward bound, where he's working my way back to you, babe. But he works his way through various instances and shady characters and meets different people who have, is this going to be a good experience or a bad experience? She has a boyfriend that we see in the movie who I think is the boy's father. Although she is definitely the more highly focused. Saoirse Ronan is definitely the number 2 character here. And her character's thing is sort of she ends up singing, and she catches the attention and gives her an opportunity to talk about sort of the lack of safety conditions and the bomb shelters and stuff like that these people, that they don't have, but yet they're the ones that are working on munitions, and they're worried about dying in these bombings. So, and then of course her son is missing, so she's worried about that because she gets word that her son is not where he's supposed to be, and he's the journey of Natty Gann begins. So it's okay. We've definitely seen better war movies before. We've definitely seen better wartime movies before. We've definitely, I think people weren't a big fan of um, Kenneth Branagh's uh, film from a couple of years ago that had sort of like a child lead, but the adults were the ones that were getting nominated. Um, and but I still thought in that film, see, I remember it was Jude Hill, I think was the name of the boy. I thought he gave a stronger performance and felt more like a lead for that film than this boy does here. This film just kind of, it has a lot of ideas, but it just doesn't really, none of them really landed. There's nothing really here to pull out. Like Stephen Graham comes in, he's fine, and he leaves. You know, I mean, like they're here for like a fleeting moment. Saoirse Ronan is fine, but she's been nominated for like 5 Oscars. It's really hard to say like this should be added to her list because I can think of performances she wasn't nominated for that were way better than this. And she already has 5, so it's not like what is the desire? Like why would we be doing? Like what is the point of giving her, she's not going to win. Let's spread the love. It's an opportunity to nominate people who have never been nominated before. I don't really support the idea of just nominating somebody because they're fun and we like their name. Like I would go through Meryl Streep's career and take away some of those nominations. She does not need that many. And there's probably a solution. There's probably definitely some of those years like Music of the Heart where you could have easily taken away that nomination and give it to somebody who's never been nominated and hasn't been nominated since, but gave a stunning performance that year and deserved to be nominated. So, yeah, it's okay. But really the audio description is what I wanted to talk about because the only reason that I know that any of these there are black people in here is just from following the film and knowing the director, you know, that kind of thing, because um I it's not in the audio description, which is odd. It's odd that there's nothing, it does, the audio description chooses not to mention that the child is mixed race. There's a mention about the country, I think Grenada, um that they're from Grenada, but Grenade, I don't know. And her boyfriend too. It's there's no mention. It's just like it's a colorblind approach to a film from a black director that he's making a conscious choice here. It's not like this is like some sort of like historical true story where like this is like we're following Winston Churchill or something, and you know I don't know where, don't you know who Winston, no, I mean like these are characters that are created to sort of help support an idea, a thought, and a time period. And he has chosen to have this mixed race child, this mixed race couple during World War II in England and have that conversation and talk about it in a way that is obvious to sighted audiences, but not so much to blind audiences. So I was just disappointed by the audio description for that from Apple. So Blitz is okay. I wish I could talk about it more. Like I had, but I just don't have. It's just kind of like I'm just kind of disappointed in it. But I would strongly consider it for sound design. I thought obviously with the bombings and the raids and everything that made the most sense to me. But other than that, it's okay. It's fine. It's not a bad movie. It's just okay. So I'm gonna give Blitz a B. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.